Hello everyone, my name is Fear Dragon, and welcome to today's vlog. Now, if you are an astute or, I guess, I don't know, someone who continuously follows the channel or subscriber or whatever, you might be wondering, well, aren't the blogs or vlogs supposed to be coming out on Thursday? Well, reason for that is I actually am having a lot of problems with my computer right now. If you've been following me on Twitter, you'll know that I am unable to start up my broadcasting software, my usual broadcasting software. I'm using OBS right now. I'm usually an XSplit user. And in come the floods of people telling me, oh my god, use OBS, don't use XSplit and everything. But I'm a big XSplit fan. I've been using XSplit for a very long time, and I have a very complicated setup that doesn't work with OBS. There are things that I do on my broadcast that I actually cannot do with OBS. Or it would require an enormous effort to make it work on OBS that I really don't want to put in the effort for right now. So I was up pretty late last night till like 2 or 3 in the morning. In case you couldn't tell, I look very tired right now. I'm on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but wasn't quite able to resolve everything, and I probably need to reinstall Windows on my computer because there are underlying issues beyond just XSplit right now. Anyways, don't want to ramble too much about that. Other kind of quick channel updates before I get into the topic for today are I'm basically have a new YouTube schedule, which, funny enough, I'm not going to be keeping this week because of the computer issues, but my new schedule should be Mondays will be downtime content uploaded. Tuesdays are going to be something kind of like a newbie Tuesday. I'm still kind of figuring out what the name is going to be, but the idea is I'm going to be commentating games, and they'll be like exciting games. I'm not just going to be taking the most bland games, whatever, and telling you all the bare basics of StarCraft or anything. It's not like going to be educational in that sense. It's still going to have a focus on entertainment, but I'm going to be talking about StarCraft as if I were talking to someone I didn't know necessarily a lot. Maybe has the very basic understanding, knows maybe the names of units or something like that, and maybe I'll even try and play around a little bit with that, see what the right kind of education level will be. But I'm still going to try and talk about it as an entertaining game of StarCraft. I'm just not going to have this assumption that you know what the meta is, or you know about these complex unit interactions, or maybe you don't even necessarily know the names of every single spell or ability or anything else in the game. So that's kind of one of the new things I want to do, just to try and get more people into StarCraft, or potentially even just give people a place they can link their friends to if they're starting to get into watching StarCraft. Not even playing, just watching and getting a basic understanding of what StarCraft is like. So that's the second thing. Wednesday is still going to be a normal like content StarCraft cast day. Thursday will be my usual vlog day, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just going to be regular cast uploads. So look forward to that. But anyways, moving quickly on to our vlog topic for today, not to keep this too long. I want to talk about something that I actually find really, really interesting, and that is sort of the difference between having, and this comes from the world of like a commentator, even someone who tries to make it as a content creator or whatever, versus a player. But one of the coolest things about StarCraft is that it is a very binary game. There are, of course, in a sense, varying degrees of how badly you beat your opponent, but at the end of the day, if you beat your opponent by a 10-mile wide margin for victory versus you just narrowly inch out the victory in this crazy close base trade, at the end of the day, that win is the win. And that's all that really matters after the fact, is that you won or you lost. It's a very binary state. And that can be, as a player, I think, something that feels very stressful. There's no kind of like half victories as you might have in a lot of other things. I mean, take, for example, a good example may be just imagine you were taking a test in school, all right? And you could get a C, you could get a B, you could get an A, you could even get a D, or you could fail, you can get an F, right? There's these varying degrees of success and even failure, depending, some places consider D's to be failures and stuff. So D and F, varying degrees of failure. But you have some general satisfaction of maybe I failed, but or like I succeeded, but I didn't succeed quite as well as I wanted to, or maybe I failed, but I didn't fail as quite as badly as I could have. If I got like a 65% or 68%, I know I was close to it. I didn't get like a 30% or something on my test. Um, as opposed to just like, imagine if your test was just a true false. Okay, is this question or this statement true or false? And if you either get it right or wrong, like that's 100% or zero, there's nothing in between. And I think that can be a very, very stressful aspect of being a player, but at the same time, there is a bit of comfort there. Um, I think one thing that I don't really hear many people talk about is that there is a bit of frustration, at least I feel sometimes. And maybe it's, of course, you always want what you can't have. You want the world on the other side of the grass where the grass looks greener. Um, but I do sometimes feel like, oh, as a content creator, it's really hard to judge success. I talked about that example with, the test scores and everything between 50 to 100%. But in reality, it ends up not being even that clear cut. You'll get a certain number of views on like a YouTube video, or you'll get a certain number of viewers on Twitch, but there are so many things that you can kind of attribute things to, and you don't really have really easy, clear benchmarks for this is what I should be getting, or everything. It's really hard to, I guess, gauge success. There are so many different factors. I could, for example, have a Twitch stream where I get 800 viewers because I got a host from one of my friends, like Base Trade TV hosted me after their stream or something. I'm like, oh yeah, awesome, I got 800 viewers. Maybe my norm was like 50 or something. But then the next stream I get like 50 viewers again. It's like, okay, well, is that part of the success? Do I count that as a success? I mean, networking is an aspect of being a streamer. Being able to develop those relationships to get hosts and everything is an aspect of it. But do I consider that to be my success? There are all these kinds of weird questions, and it makes it very difficult to really feel a lot of ownership, I think, over particular, I guess, landmarks or goals in streaming or just content production in general. I think that definitely can be a bit frustrating, not really knowing where you stand. It's also, you take things like commentary, which is a very arbitrary thing. Some people will love one commentator and other people absolutely hate that commentator. Like the most frustrating kind of feeling whenever they listen to that commentator. They're like, oh, I have to watch the GSL with me. No, I mean, nobody hates the GSL. Everyone loves Tasteless and Narcosis, but whatever. I'm sure you guys can imagine what I'm talking about. But it's very, very difficult because of that to develop a good sense of whether or not you're improving as a commentator. Because one of the big things in StarCraft is that you use these kind of binary victory defeat states to make judgments about whether you are making the right decision or the wrong decision. But when you don't have that kind of clear cut, this was a success or a failure, even when it becomes like this was kind of success versus kind of a failure, the more you get into that arbitrary, ambiguous area, the harder it is for you to make judgment calls about whether what you're doing is the correct decision or the incorrect decision. If what you're doing is going to help you meet your objectives or not. And that's one of the, again, like going back into what I was saying, that's probably one of the biggest untalked about, I feel like, frustrations of being a content producer or a streamer or a commentator and everything, is it's very difficult to get clear direction on where to go sometimes. And that's oftentimes, this actually goes back into something else I wanted to talk about in another vlog, but a lot of times you'll hear about commentators that don't really listen to feedback, or they'll be less or more resistant to listening to feedback. And a lot of time that comes from that sort of place of, well, I don't really have clear direction. But when you start listening to other people, because everyone just has these very varied styles on what they want in a commentator, if you just listen to everyone, you kind of become this smorgasbord of random little things that various people like, but they don't necessarily all mesh together well. And it becomes an entirely different problem of where do you get good feedback from. That's why a lot of people will end up just kind of listening to their own gut on what do I think a commentator should be. They kind of create their own preconception of what do I think commentators should be like in my ideal world. What is the kind of commentator I like being, or I like listening to, and that kind of stuff. And people will base their own improvements around that, because now there's at least some benchmark. It's still not a very clear benchmark, but you can at least listen to your own commentary or watch some of your own content or whatever and say, hey, this is where I am. This is where I want to be at. What's the difference? I can do a little bit of subtraction and try and figure out here are the things that I need to do to get there. As opposed to relying on like multiple different sources and these kind of ambiguous senses of, oh, well, when I do this, I get more viewers, but when I do this, I get more subscribers. Like all kinds of weird things that end up happening. But anyways, just want to talk about that. I thought it was sort of an interesting topic that really I haven't heard almost anyone talk about. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to hear other people talking about this. But yeah, that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the vlog. And I don't know, maybe you can take a bit of it and think about it in terms of your own life. If you have varying degrees of success at your job and thinking about how you can improve at it when you don't necessarily have success or failure Boolean states that determine whether you did a good job or not. Anyways, hopefully I will be resuming normal content stuff tomorrow. I'll probably replace Thursday with just another regular commentary thing since I did the vlog early this week. Maybe I'll just do it with the newbie Tuesday cast. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure things out with my computer, but hopefully I'll figure stuff out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.